This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Happy Monday, folks. It's great to be back here again. And as I always say, it's a brand new day with no mistakes. Today, I have a very special guest, actually two very special guests. Sharon Skittle's a really dear friend of mine, and Doug Straught, who has some very interesting, valuable information that he would like to share with us. Good morning. How are you, Doug?
Doing very well, thank you.
And Sharon, how are you doing?
Great. Good to be here again. Thank you.
So we have to cover a lot of ground very quickly, Doug. Can you chat a little bit about what we're going to be discussing today regarding Sherman's disease?
Sure. Sherman's disease, first of all, is a skeletal disease, and it affects, starts in adolescence for children, and it's a spinal disease that, if caught early, can be a benign disease, but we're finding that if caught later, can affect older adults. But it's really important that it be caught in adolescence. And if caught in adolescence, it can be really ineffectual.
Okay, so here's the thing. Sharon, you were telling me this is your friend from years ago from high school, right?
Right. Doug was a friend of mine from high school, and we were rounding up our class reunion. We found out that Doug himself has this disease, and he, was a superb athlete, super active as a young guy, and he's only 48 now, 49, and he's got a pain pump installed. He had to go on disability. He was at the peak of his career when this really started to affect him, and he's in excruciating pain every day. And because there wasn't an awareness, he started a foundation. He was approved by the Pittsburgh Foundation, which is huge, so we need to raise $10,000 this year in order to keep this an ongoing charity, and it's so worthwhile. And Doug's going to tell us a little bit about how you can recognize this so that no one else has to go through this.
Right, and I said that in the beginning that it could be ineffectual if caught early. I said that because it's very important to be caught early. If it is not caught early, it can be very, very dangerous, and it can be very, I don't want to say malignant, but it can be very dangerous for people. Being a skeletal disease the way it is, there are two ways that this can be caught. First of all, if you're very, very young, parents can really pick this up very easily. If you have the child bends over. And when the child bends over, if there's a hump in the back, at the middle of the back, that is where the parents can pick this up. Usually the hump in the back, when you bend over, is between the shoulder blades. Now, when this curvature in the middle of in between the shoulder blades that's normal for everybody. But if you've seen this in older adults, where this hump is in the middle of the back, that's caused by, by these vertebrae being in a, I want to say.
So, Doug, is it the thoracic part of the spine, like the middle 12 vertebrae, or?
Yes. Well, yes. When it's in that middle 12 vertebrae, these middle 12 vertebrae are in a wedged position. That wedged position does not allow for these discs to act as almost like as bumper or speed bumps. So when you look at these vertebrae and in these wedged positions, what they do is they throw your neck and your lower back out over your body. What that can do is cause your neck and lower back have multiple problems. Now, when they have multiple problems, that can be caused later in life. And what we're finding later in life, that people are having serious problems.
So the big thing right now, we're really trying to raise as much money as possible. And you can call into our show, 1-800-662-9550. We're talking about Sherman's disease. And Doug, how do we reach out to our listeners to help contribute and, make your charity continue the good work that it's doing?
We have a website called sdfund.org, and there you can find a great amount of information about Sherman's disease. There you can donate. There's a donate button. But what we really want to do is spread information out about Sherman's disease. Sherman's disease, there are multiple treatment options. Again, like I said, if it's caught before the age of 14 or in adolescence, there are treatment options such as physical therapy, braces. You can avoid these pitfalls. But if it's caught later in life, we're finding that if there are some long-term studies that we can fund, what we'll be able to do is spread the word, and some of these later in life problems can be resolved.
And I know,
Yes,
Sharon,
so-
you're going to be working with Doug as well, helping raise funds as well.
Yeah, we have a couple things on the horizon. One is going to be a charity event at the yoga studio and spinning studio. So it'll be Urban Elements and Psychology, probably late September. We'll do a ride and also a yoga class that's a fundraiser. We're having one at the Alpine Club, but I don't think the date is set yet.
Not yet.
But for now, if you can just go online and donate, there's a donate button. It's simple. It's sdfund.org. It's such a worthwhile charity. I should say that Doug is getting nothing from this. He's not benefiting in any way. There was so little information because it affects, so little people. And so he started this website, and the people that are reaching out to him and the emails that he's getting and the comments that he's getting from Iran, from all over the world, England, people that have this and had no place to turn. So if we can raise awareness, and even, every kid's physical, they bend over and touch their toes in front of their doctors. If they're more aware to notice where the hump is, rather than just think it's inflexibility and check further into it, they can be in a brace early enough to prevent this so that they're not, Doug is in pain right now. Like I can see he's in pain, and it's breaking my heart, but I'm so proud of you and so inspired by the fact that you chose to make a positive out of something that could really, you could have sat and wallowed, and instead you're helping other people.
And another thing to remember is, if you as parents, if you have a child in front of you, have them bend over and touch their toes, and you find that that there is something wrong with that curvature, that's the first step. You then take your child to the doctor. The doctor then will take a set of x-rays. That set of x-rays will then be the determining factor. That's the second step. That determining factor will then, they'll look at the x-rays, and that second step will determine if the vertebrae typically look like a brick. That brick is almost like rectangular in shape. Sherman's disease, that second diagnosis, if there is a wedging of the vertebrae, that will be a second, almost like type, where that will denote to the doctor where there may be some more testing that needs to be done to determine if your child has Sherman's disease. It is that simple. That's why we need to get the information out there to make more people aware of this disease. Now, there are studies that say that between 0.2 to 8% of the population has this disease. Only the worst sufferers, such as me, will go then from physical therapy to brace, which is a Milwaukee brace, and then to potential surgeries. Now, I have had 7 spinal surgeries because mine wasn't caught in time. I was 17 years old, where if it's caught before the bone structures are completely set, then you can potentially avoid all those different problems that I've had. Well, that is, your discs are meant to be shock absorbers. And if you have this curvature to your spine of a certain degree, that curvature to your spine, like I said, throws your neck and lower back out over your body. And if you think about that, and it makes sense, because when that happens, your shock absorbers of your discs are not acting as they should be. So when that happens, your neck and your lower back discs kind of wear out sooner than they should be. So what you're thinking then, and if that makes sense to you, it makes sense to me, that later in life, if those shock absorbers aren't working properly, your neck and your lower back discs tend to wear out sooner than later. So if you're sitting even in a sedentary job, you're finding that maybe your neck is a little bit more sore, your lower back is a little bit more sore. You go to the doctor, and all of a sudden, at the age of 25, 35, 45, you find that you were diagnosed now with Sherman's disease, and it's a little bit too late then. And we're finding in our website all these people who are emailing us finding all of these problems. Well, if you have one person in a medical group throughout the whole country that has this problem, then there are so many more people that we're finding that had to have these problems than before. So what we're doing is, please, please, please get this word out, because we think we can find more people who have this than we thought before. We need to fund a long-term study. That is where we're going to get the money, the research, all of those things, and that's why we have this charity set up. It's so important that we get this out there.
Yeah, sdfund.org. All your donations help. Even if it's $1, it's going to help. there needs to be studies on how to build better braces. There needs to be studies on how to bring more awareness, so you can prevent this. That compression on the spine, it's so painful. There's so many nerve endings along it. It's just
right.
It's
right.
Really,
and I mean, here's the thing, folks. We've been on the air for over 8 years with Salem Radio, Boston, Florida, and I certainly look forward to the support that we're going to get from our listeners. And you can always reach us here at 1-800-662-9550 to have any other additional questions, how to contribute. Obviously, we're all about supporting each other. That's what life's about. And I certainly am very inspired by you, Doug. I really feel grateful that you could come in today. And
thank you so much for having me.
It certainly means a lot, and we're going to continue sharing that information. I do guest on other shows, so we will do that. We've met with our Salem folks here who are very kind as well. So we want to make sure that you reach that goal. You want to have at least a contribution of $10,000 to continue your efforts and share and educate folks about Sherman's disease. And Sharon, you had a few things you wanted to add.
I just want to say that, your donations and your prayers are greatly appreciated. And this year it's really imperative that for the Pittsburgh Foundation to continue to support Doug, we raise the $10,000. So
all right,
donations and prayers. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Please, thank you so much.
And I wanted to thank you, Doug. I really, your prayers, my prayers are with you. I know that we're here to support you, and we'll continue sharing the information, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Stay well, folks.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.